We've completed our simulation of the 2024 college football season for the final time on NCAA Football 14, and we're going to show you the standings here in this video so you can get you set for the conference championship games tomorrow, and then we'll have a playoff bracket reveal on Thursday, and we'll have the first round of the college football playoff on Friday, the quarterfinals Saturday, the semifinal Sunday, and the national championship on a Monday night right before the new game comes out. And again, we're going to be re-simulating the entire season on the new game, so we'll compare those results and see which game got it more accurate. But I just wanted to do a quick video here to show you the standings, show you how the season played out. And speaking of the new game and everything, we're not going to be able to do every single game because there's just not going to be that much time between now and the start of the season. But we'll at least get results, do super sims or whatever, and again do this same type deal where we will show you the results at the end of the season. So I thought that there were some surprises in these simulations, some things that I just absolutely do not see happening, but at the same time there weren't a ton of surprises, and the number of surprises that we saw are actually pretty accurate to what we see in a normal season. Now, will these be the correct surprises with teams doing a lot better, a lot worse than we expect? We have no idea, but as far as the number of big surprises, I think it's pretty accurate. So let's jump right in, and we'll start with the ACC. So we'll start at the bottom here. Big surprise, NC State at number 14, just 5-7 overall, 2-6 in the ACC. That was, again, a big surprise. Don't see that happening, but you never know. Every other team here towards the bottom, pretty accurate. Boston College, Wake Forest, Stanford, and Pittsburgh. All right, how about the 7 through 12 range? We had Georgia Tech at 12, Virginia at 11, Virginia Tech at 10. A little bit lower than I think most people expect. Duke, maybe a bit of a surprise at 8-4. Cal as well at 8-4. And North Carolina at 9-3. And one thing that I learned with the new conferences and just going through these standings, and this applies to real life, we're going to see a ton of tiebreaker scenarios in real life because you have all these teams, you have no more divisions. There are going to be a lot of crazy tiebreaker scenarios, and I saw that in like every conference here. So let's get to the top, and here it is. So it's actually going to be Syracuse, the surprise team, I would say. Definitely the surprise team in the ACC. Syracuse at number 1, going undefeated. I know they have a very, very easy schedule, but going undefeated, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but we'll see. So they'll play Florida State in the ACC Championship. They finished 10-2, 7-1 in the conference, and it did come down to tiebreakers. They won the tiebreaker with Louisville. I don't remember exactly how all that went, but I did go by the tiebreaker rules, and this was several days ago, and again, I can't remember exactly how that played out. A lot of these tiebreakers actually came down to like strength of schedule in the conference because you don't have the head-to-head sometimes. You don't have, if it's a three-way tie, they didn't all play each other. So it gets kind of confusing, but we will see Florida State and Syracuse in the ACC Championship. We've got Louisville at number 3. They go 9-3, 7-1 in the ACC. Again, they were actually tied with Florida State in the conference standings. And then there's Miami and Clemson, both going 6-2 in the ACC. The Georgia loss for Clemson probably going to keep them out of the college football playoff as they lose 3 games. And SMU 9-3. But yeah, this is kind of take Syracuse out of this equation, and you know, Syracuse too high, NC State too low, and this is pretty accurate to what I think we're going to see in the ACC this year. So yeah, a couple of surprises, that's to be expected. Will those be the actual surprises in real life? Of course, we won't know until we get into the season. All right, let's go to the Big 12 now. At the bottom, Arizona State. There's Colorado. They didn't win a game until their final 2 games in the Big 12. They won their last 2. All right, big surprise here. Kansas State 5-7. Houston also 5-7. So NC State, that big disappointment in the ACC. Kansas State, the big disappointment in the Big 12. We'll see if it plays out that way. I don't think it will. I don't think either one of those teams is going to struggle that much. All right, so we've got Texas Tech at number 12, TCU at 11, Baylor at 10, Iowa State at 9, UCF at 8, West Virginia at number 7. These look to be fairly accurate. I have no real gripes here with this potentially playing out in real life just like this. So yeah, 7 through 12 looks very accurate. And really the only thing so far we've seen is Kansas State. That was the big surprise. but we're going to see a big surprise at the top, and that's Cincinnati. Arizona at number 1, not a huge surprise, going 10-2, 8-1 in the conference. But Cincinnati at 10-2, that is a shocker there. BYU at 8-4 is a big surprise. Utah 9-3, Kansas 8-4, Oklahoma State 8-4. So it's like the exact same thing we saw in the ACC. So in the ACC, we had the big surprise from Syracuse, the big disappointment with NC State. Big 12, big surprise with Cincinnati, big disappointment with Kansas State. I don't know if those are going to be the correct teams, like I said, but we'll probably see some surprises that are similar to that. So interesting that Cincinnati goes 10-2. I think this is actually the worst team in the Big 12, but simulation liked them. All right, let's go to the Big 10 now. We will start at the bottom. Purdue, Maryland. Maryland only 4-8. Illinois 5-7. Rutgers 6-6. Minnesota 5-7. Washington 6-6. Again, no huge surprises here. I don't think Maryland's going to be that bad, but I don't think they're going to be great. So this is fairly accurate, I would say. Washington may be a little better than 6-6, but that wouldn't surprise me with a new coach and a lot of roster turnover. How about 7 through 12? UCLA at 5-7, Michigan State 5-7, Wisconsin 5-7, Indiana 7-5. I actually think they have a chance to do that in real life. Iowa at 8-4, Nebraska all the way up at 9-3. But again, no huge surprises. One of the big things though about the Big Ten is this conference overall, I would say, disappointed. It was not a very strong conference. Maybe it was just the teams beating up on each other. I don't know, but really not a lot of playoff contenders in the Big Ten. So let's go to the top. And no surprise, it's going to be Ohio State and Oregon playing in the Big Ten Championship. Penn State, number 3, 10-2, but they are not guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff because their resume is not very good. Again, the strength of the Big Ten, this Big Ten just was not very strong this year in the simulations. Northwestern, a bit of a surprise at 8-4, but they surprised last year, so I don't think that's a huge surprise. Michigan at 8-4, pretty good drop-off from their national championship run, but wouldn't be shocked if they went 8-4, and then USC at 9-3. So like I said, overall, I could see the Big Ten going like this. There's nothing unreasonable here. You know, NC State and Kansas State being as bad as they were in the ACC and Big 12, I just don't see that happening. But, you know, I don't agree with everything here in the Big Ten, but like I said, all this could possibly happen. So a very accurate simulation, in my opinion. Let's go to the SEC now at the bottom. Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. Then you have South Carolina, Kentucky. Nothing too crazy here. I think it could play out this way potentially. And then we go to 7 through 12. Arkansas gets to a bowl game. That was a big surprise. Remember, they beat Oklahoma State. We have Florida at 4-8, although 3-5 in the SEC. It's just crazy that they lost 3 non-conference games. That's how tough their schedule is. Missouri 8-4, Auburn 8-4, Oklahoma 8-4, and then Alabama at 9-3. Again, no huge surprises here. I think some people expect Missouri to do a lot better than that. I have them at 9-3, so that's not too far off. And so I think this is pretty accurate. And then we go to the top, and we've got Georgia and Texas at the top. But it was actually a 4-way tie with Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and LSU. Then Texas A&M 10-2, Tennessee 9-3. But nothing here that I would say is unreasonable. So yeah, we had to go to tiebreakers here with Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and LSU. Came down to, I think so there actually are no tiebreaker rules in the SEC. They haven't announced them. So I just kind of used what the other conferences use. And it came down to, I believe, strength of schedule really was the difference here. And then if you get, you narrow it down to 2 teams, you go head-to-head, things like that. But it did come out with Georgia, Texas at the top. So here is the schedule for tomorrow. Conference championship games will start with the ACC championship. The undefeated Syracuse Orange going to take on Florida State, and that will kick things off at 12 o'clock Eastern time. And then we will go to the Big Ten, Ohio State, Oregon in a rematch. That game will be at 3 o'clock Eastern time. And then we go to the SEC championship at 6 o'clock Eastern time. It's Georgia, Texas, another rematch. 2 huge rematches there in the Big Ten and the SEC. And then finally, we will close things out with the Big 12 championship game. Arizona and Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati, one of the biggest surprises. Cincinnati and Syracuse, those were the 2 surprise teams. We'll see 2 surprise teams at least. I don't know if it's going to be those 2, but it was interesting that the game did come out that way. And so, again, that's how we'll close things out with the Big 12 Championship. And then on Thursday, again, we'll do a playoff bracket reveal, and then we'll kick off the college football playoff, 12-team playoff on Friday. Give me your thoughts on this. Do you think it could play out at all like this? What did you agree with? What did you disagree with from these simulations? Give me your comments and your thoughts on the simulation results down in the comments below.